Funny thing about people. You never really know which one's supposed to stay until you try to leave them. Life doesn't send you a sign with flashing lights or some grand announcement saying, "This one matters." No, it's quieter than that. It's the one who annoys you but still shows up. The one who doesn't say much, but you feel them in the room. The one who makes you question why you care so much. Why you can't just walk away like you did with everyone else. You tell yourself they're just another person passing through. But deep down, something keeps pulling you back. Every time you try to move on, life drags you right back to them, like a loop you can't escape. Funny thing about life, sometimes the people you meet aren't just people. They're messages, wrapped in skin, breathing, talking, laughing, sometimes annoying, but messages nonetheless. You think you just stumbled across them. Oh no, they were placed. Like a puzzle piece that doesn't look like it fits, until you twist it a little and realize it was meant to be there all along. Some people aren't distractions. They're divine assignments in disguise. And you've probably mistaken one for the other. You see, it's easy to call someone a distraction when they slow you down, make you think, make you question your comfort, because comfort is so warm, so safe. But destiny doesn't grow there. No, destiny grows in discomfort. It grows when someone enters your world and flips your routine upside down. You fight it, call it a test, maybe even a curse. But that person, that disturbance, might be the one sent to wake you up, because you were getting sleepy, weren't you? Numb, routine, predictable. Then they showed up, and suddenly, your emotions started breathing again. Maybe they push you too hard, or maybe they see through your act. The mask you wear to convince the world you've got everything figured out. They don't buy it. They look at you and see something more, something raw. It's irritating, isn't it? To be seen. But that irritation, that's the sound of growth scraping against your pride. It's the friction that sharpens the blade. You can't become who you're meant to be without friction. Smooth surfaces don't cut anything, and yet you run. You call it protecting your peace, when really you're running from purpose. Because sometimes purpose comes dressed as chaos. It walks in, rearranges everything you thought was permanent, and demands you to rise. You wanted peace. You got purpose instead. You wanted silence. You got a voice telling you to move. That person isn't here to make your life easy. They're here to make your life mean something. They might not look like an angel. In fact, they might look like the very thing you swore to avoid. They might annoy you, challenge you, confuse you. But inside that mess is a lesson, a divine setup wearing human clothes. Maybe they're the one who teaches you patience when you've got none left, or forgiveness when your heart's too cold for it. Or maybe, just maybe, they remind you that you still care, even when you tried so hard not to. Because you did try to stop caring, didn't you? But they made it impossible. It's funny how life uses people like mirrors. You see them, but really, you're seeing yourself. The parts you like to hide, the ones you don't want to face, they reflect them right back at you. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. The universe has a dark sense of humor, doesn't it? It brings someone who irritates your wounds just enough to make you finally clean them. You call them a distraction, but maybe they're the one pulling you back to the path you abandoned. You say they waste your time, but maybe they're saving your soul. Because sometimes the mission doesn't look like success. It looks like someone who forces you to confront yourself. You want to get away from them, but even when you do, they echo in your mind. That's not obsession. That's instruction. Maybe you were sent to them too. Ever think of that? Maybe you're their assignment. Maybe they're lost, and you're the one meant to light the way. But to do that, you have to stay long enough to see why. That's the hard part, isn't it? Staying. Because staying means feeling. It means breaking your own walls, letting something real touch you again. It means risking the heart you swore you'd keep locked away. But when someone's a divine assignment, you can't ignore it forever. The world will keep bringing them back into your story, in whispers, in dreams, in strange coincidences that feel a little too intentional. Because the truth is, you can't outrun a mission that was written with your name on it. You can avoid it, distract yourself, fill your life with noise. But deep down, there's something about that person that won't let you go. And maybe it's not meant to. You ever notice how the right person always shows up at the wrong time? How life plays this little trick, throws someone into your story when you're least ready for them. You're focused, working, healing, minding your own business, and then boom, there they are, smiling, laughing, breathing chaos into your calm. You tell yourself it's not the right time, not the right situation, maybe not even the right person. But something deeper whispers, what if it is? What if this timing you hate so much is actually the timing you needed most? Life has this way of tearing apart your plans to build something better out of the wreckage. You think it's bad timing, but maybe it's divine precision. Maybe that person didn't come too early or too late. They came exactly when your heart needed the shake. Up. When you were getting too used to being numb. When you started believing that solitude was strength and connection was weakness. And then they arrive, unannounced, unapologetic, and everything you thought you had under control starts to tremble. You resist, of course. You always do. Because you've been hurt before, right? You've learned to build walls high enough to keep the pain out. But this person, they climb them without even trying. They find the cracks. They see the version of you thought you buried. And you hate that. You hate how easy it is for them to see through your act. How one conversation with them feels more honest than 100 with anyone else. You don't want to care, but you do. You don't want to feel, but you can't help it. The world will tell you it's just coincidence, chemistry, timing. But deep down, you feel it. This connection isn't ordinary. It's not something you can explain or replace. It's like the universe dropped a reminder right in front of you, saying, hey, you're still alive. Because that's what they do. They make you feel again. They remind you that you've still got warmth under all that armor. And it scares you, because feeling alive means risking getting hurt again. But what if they're not here to break you? What if they're here to build you differently? What if they're here to drag you out of your own shadow? You see, sometimes life uses people to deliver messages that words alone can't. That person you can't stop thinking about. They might be the lesson you didn't know you needed. Maybe they're here to show you what unconditional looks like. Or maybe they're here to remind you that love doesn't always stay. But it always leaves you stronger. You'll try to convince yourself it's nothing, that you can move on, forget, delete, block, erase. But energy doesn't lie. No matter how far you run, it follows. It's not about obsession, it's resonance. When two frequencies align, they don't need permission to connect. They just do. That's why no matter how much you try to silence it, the thought of them lingers. It's because they were meant to leave an imprint. Not all souls that enter your life are meant to stay forever. Some just walk in to wake you up, shake you, change you. You'll question it. You'll question yourself. You'll ask why you met them, why it felt so real, why it had to end, or why it can't start. But that's not your job to figure out. Your job is to feel it. To let it teach you something about yourself. Maybe it's teaching you patience, or timing, or maybe it's showing you that not everything needs to be owned to be meaningful. Maybe it's teaching you that love can be sacred even when it's incomplete. The person who enters your life at the most inconvenient time might be the reason you finally start living with purpose. They push you to grow, to see your worth, to stop hiding behind excuses. They might hurt you. Yes, but pain can be a teacher too. Sometimes the lesson doesn't come wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it comes dressed in confusion, wearing the face of someone who feels like home and a storm at the same time. So you sit there, torn between holding on and letting go. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the lesson isn't about choosing either. Maybe it's about learning to appreciate what was given, even if it wasn't meant to last. Because not every divine connection ends in forever. Some are meant to transform you, not complete you. Some are meant to break your heart just enough to open it wider. Some are meant to show you that timing doesn't matter when something is meant. You can fight it, deny it, bury it, but truth always finds a way to resurface, and deep down, you'll always know. That person wasn't a random chapter in your story. They were the reason you started rewriting the whole book. Funny, isn't it? How one person can make you question everything you thought you understood about yourself. You think you've got your emotions under control, that you've built yourself into this fortress of focus and strength. You tell yourself you don't need anyone, that the mission, the goal, the grind, that's all that matters. Then one unexpected face walks in, and suddenly, the armor you spent years crafting starts to crack like it was made of glass. You tell yourself to ignore it, to push it away, but the more you resist, the louder it gets. That quiet voice inside whispering, maybe this isn't random. Maybe this person isn't just a distraction. They're the assignment. You start noticing the little things. The way their presence calms the noise in your head, or how their chaos strangely matches yours. They don't even have to say much. They just exist. And somehow, that's enough to stir something inside you. And it's confusing, because you've been trying so hard to stay detached, to protect your focus, to keep your mission clean and clear. But maybe the mission was never meant to be clean. Maybe it was meant to get messy, emotional, uncomfortable, because real purpose always is. Maybe this person is here to teach you something your goals never could. There's a pattern in life that no one wants to admit. The people who challenge you the most are the ones who reveal who you truly are. The ones who annoy you, confuse you, even hurt you. They pull out pieces of yourself you bury deep. You think they're breaking you, but they're actually introducing you to the parts you forgot existed. They're a mirror you didn't ask for, showing you the reflection you didn't want to see. And the crazy thing, you can't turn away. Something in you needs to look. Something in you recognizes that this pain, this pull, this connection, it's doing something to you that comfort never could. You can feel it, can't you? That tension between control and surrender. You want to stay logical, to keep everything in order, but life has a way of laughing at logic. It sends someone who operates entirely on feeling. Someone who doesn't follow your rules, who breaks your patterns just by being themselves. And now you're stuck in this paradox. Part of you wants to run. The other part wants to stay and see what happens if you don't. Because deep down, you know the truth. The greatest changes don't happen when you plan them. They happen when someone unexpected walks in and flips the switch you didn't even know was there. You start remembering what it's like to feel alive, to care again, to risk again. It's terrifying, isn't it? After being so used to numbness, to safety, to solitude, suddenly your heart is beating again, louder, heavier. You start questioning everything, your timing, your choices, your walls. And that's the beauty of it. That's the chaos that brings clarity. Because until something shakes you to your core, you don't really know who you are. You don't really know what matters. You don't really know what you're capable of feeling. Maybe this person didn't come to make you happy. Maybe they came to wake you up. To remind you that there's still a spark under all the layers of indifference. Maybe they're not meant to stay forever. Maybe their purpose was just to pull you out of autopilot. Maybe their mission was to teach you that connection isn't a weakness, that love, in its rawest form, is a mirror to your soul. Because when someone enters your life and ignites that fire, they don't just change how you feel. They change how you see the world. And even if you try to fight it, that change lingers. It creeps into your thoughts, your dreams, your decisions. You start to see things differently. You start realizing that life isn't about isolating yourself to stay safe. It's about finding the people who make the danger worth it. The ones who push you to become more than what you were yesterday. You start to understand that maybe this person isn't a detour from your mission. They are the mission. Because what's the point of success if your soul is still asleep? What's the point of achieving everything if you've forgotten how to feel? The real test isn't about how long they stay. It's about what they awaken in you. Sometimes the lesson wears the face of love, sometimes the face of loss. But either way, it's sacred. You'll look back and realize that this connection, this disruption, was never a coincidence. It was a divine reminder that purpose doesn't always come in peace. Sometimes it comes in the form of a person who turns your world upside down, so you can finally see it right side up. You ever notice how life tests you right when you think you've figured it all out? You've got your routines, your rules, your moral compass neatly calibrated. And then, bam, someone steps into your world, and everything you thought you understood starts trembling. Suddenly, your certainties feel fragile, your walls start to thin, and you're forced to ask yourself, why this person? Why now? There's something about them that doesn't fit the usual pattern. Something about their presence feels divinely inconvenient. They don't just walk in quietly, they shift the atmosphere. And no matter how hard you try, you can't ignore that pull. That strange sense that you've been assigned something that matters more than your comfort. It's never about convenience, is it? The real lessons never arrive wrapped in ease. They show up disguised as confusion, frustration, temptation, even pain. And this person, this mission, in human form, may be the hardest test you've faced yet, because it's not about saving them or fixing them. It's about what you discover in yourself when you choose to care. It's about what it costs you to show up for someone who might not even realize they need you. Sometimes, you're sent to someone not to teach them something, but to prove to yourself that your heart still works. That despite everything you've lost, despite the scars and the cynicism, you're still capable of giving, still capable of believing that connection means something. You start to feel it, the tension between your purpose and your peace. You know helping them might drain you. You know caring might hurt. But you also know walking away would be worse. Because when something inside you whispers, don't leave them, it's not just sentiment. It's direction. It's that rare, divine push that says this moment, this person, is bigger than you. Maybe they're the mirror you need. The one that forces you to see who you've become. Maybe their chaos was sent to test your strength, or their pain was sent to call out your compassion. Either way, you can't shake that feeling that something about this connection has weight. Spiritual, emotional, fateful. And maybe that's what scares you. Because purpose always demands something in return. It doesn't come cheap. To truly help someone, you have to bleed a little. You have to risk misunderstanding, disappointment, rejection. You have to open doors you swore you'd never open again. And that's the catch. Most people want the glory of a mission without the mess. But real missions, they require sacrifice. Real missions break you open before they build you up. You can't save anyone without confronting your own shadows. You can't guide someone out of their darkness unless you've learned to make peace with yours. That's the real reason this connection was placed in your path, not for convenience, not for validation, but for transformation. You're being forced to operate from a deeper place, a more vulnerable place, a place where logic has no power. Because when you're assigned to someone, you don't get to rationalize it. You feel it. You know. It's that gut level knowing that doesn't fade no matter how much you try to talk yourself out of it. The mind says, this is too much. The soul says, this is where you're needed. That conflict between logic and calling, that's how you know it's real. And here's the thing about missions. They don't always make you feel heroic. Sometimes they make you feel small, weak, drained. But that's the paradox. Purpose doesn't always look powerful. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like standing by someone even when it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it looks like choosing empathy when indifference would be easier. And it's in those quiet, exhausting, thankless moments that the real work happens. The kind of work no one sees, but heaven keeps score of. So you stay. You show up, even when it hurts, even when you don't understand why. Because deep down, something in you knows that obedience to that inner pull is the only way forward. You've been through enough cycles to know that ignoring it only leads to emptiness. So you let the discomfort guide you. You let it strip you of pride, of self-interest, of convenience. You let it make you human again. Because that's what missions like this do. They remind you what being human really means. To feel deeply. To carry someone else's burden for a moment. To love without expecting anything in return. And maybe, just maybe, that's the whole point. That this wasn't about success or control or outcomes. It was about surrender. About learning that true strength isn't in how hard you fight, but in how soft you're willing to become when the divine asks you to care. Maybe that's the test hidden in this connection. Whether you can listen to that voice inside when everything in you wants to run. Whether you can see beyond the inconvenience and realize that sometimes your purpose wears the face of a person who needs you. Not because you're their savior, but because you're the lesson they prayed for. You ever realize how the people you're meant to help often look like the ones who least deserve it? They're stubborn, broken, maybe even ungrateful. You try to extend your hand, and they bite it. You give them warmth. They respond with cold silence. But still, something inside you won't let you walk away. It's maddening, isn't it? Because logic screams, let them go. But something deeper whispers, not yet. That whisper, that stubborn tug, isn't weakness. It's purpose disguised as pain. It's a signal that there's something buried beneath their chaos that only you were meant to uncover. And maybe that's why you were chosen. Because you see what others miss. You feel what others ignore. Most people help when it's easy, when it makes them look good, when the gratitude is immediate, but the real assignments, the divine ones, they don't come with applause. They come with confusion. They come with weight. You don't get a thank you, you get a test. A test of patience, of compassion, of endurance. You're sent into someone's storm not to calm it, but to show them they can survive it. You don't even realize it sometimes. You just keep showing up. And every time you do, a piece of your pride burns away. You learn to care without control, to give without expecting, to love without needing a return. That's rare. That's uncomfortable. But that's the kind of love that changes destinies. You can't help someone without being affected yourself. You start to feel their pain, their frustration, their guilt. You begin to understand why they hide, why they push people away. Because once upon a time you did too. You recognize yourself in their mess. That's the part that hurts the most. The mirror they hold up without even knowing it. You look into their chaos and see your reflection. That's when you realize this isn't just about them. It's about you. It's about what kind of person you're becoming through this connection. You might think helping them is draining you. Maybe it is. But sometimes, what feels like losing energy is really shedding ego. You're being stripped of selfish motives, broken expectations that need to control outcomes. You start learning that some missions aren't meant to be successful in the way you imagine. Some are just meant to refine you, to soften your edges, to expand your empathy, to awaken your soul. You're not just helping them, they're shaping you. It's an exchange disguised as burden. You'll want to quit, of course. You'll get tired. You'll say, I've done enough. But that thought won't bring peace, because something in your spirit knows the task isn't finished. It's not about boundaries. It's about timing. And timing is sacred. You can't rush what's divine. When you're assigned to someone, leaving too early is like abandoning a story before its ending. You might think you're protecting yourself, but you're really walking away from transformation. And maybe they'll never thank you. Maybe they'll never understand what you gave up to stay. But the point isn't recognition. It's revelation. Every sleepless night, every frustrated sigh, every silent prayer you whisper for them. It's all part of the unseen work that reshapes your soul. You learn to listen more and judge less. You learn to see pain where others see rebellion. You learn that love isn't always soft. It's sometimes raw, messy, inconvenient. But it's real, and that's what makes it holy. The world doesn't teach that kind of love anymore. It teaches self-preservation, instant gratification, quick exits. But when you're called to someone, you don't get the luxury of shortcuts. You can't treat a divine connection like a casual encounter. There's purpose threaded through every word, every silence, every moment that makes you question your sanity. You think it's random, but it's not. The universe has a way of aligning souls who need each other. One to learn strength, the other to learn surrender. So maybe that's your mission here. Not to fix them, not to change them, but to stand beside them long enough for the light in you to spark something in them. You may not even notice when it happens. It might be in a single sentence, a gesture, a look. But something shifts. Because love, even the quiet kind, is contagious. It spreads without noise, without recognition. It just moves through the air, through the heart, through the unseen spaces between souls. And in the end, maybe you'll realize that being chosen for this person wasn't a burden. It was a privilege. To carry someone's name in your prayers. To hold faith for them when they've lost it. To see their potential when they only see their pain. You were sent not because you're perfect, but because you've been broken enough to understand. You were chosen because you know what it means to fall and still rise. Because you've lived through your own fire and came out knowing how to guide someone else through theirs.